Hello everyone and welcome to Spoiler Warning featuring myself, Tom Colohue. We talk wrestling news here and there will be plenty of it to discuss. We are talking impending returns for Becky Lynch, Edge, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, a little update as regards the status of Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, the plans for tonight's Raw, or at least how Triple H is viewing it, something on Damian Priest, and of course a little highlight closer to the fact about where I'm going to be for the next couple of weeks, because I promise you one thing, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be taking a extended break, and by extended I mean about 2 weeks from this channel, as I essentially take a vacation, or a holiday as we call it over here in the UK. It's essentially my first time off since January 15th, 2021, so nearly 2.5 years. I'm going to take a 2-week break. I'm still going to be doing shorts and the like, but I will not be doing anything live. There will be no live streams or anything of that caliber until I return. So just to be clear, I will be out after tonight until the 26th of May, 2 weeks from now, when you will see me getting ready for a Friday spoiler warning and of course a SmackDown watch party. That's the first thing I wanted to discuss, but there's plenty more, as you know. We have plenty dropping in already from Spider Boss. Hello Spider Boss, hello Moxie. We have Joe, Venom, Brad, Richard, Daz, Carlos, Ed, Joey, Mark, Razar, Aled, Andy and Khalid already here in the YouTube as well. Plenty more people who've not yet said hi, maybe choosing to lurk. If you are lurking, by all means say hi and just leave it there, that's also welcome. But I want to say a huge thanks to everyone who's already joined us. Let's jump in with some of these questions. Carlos says, hello Tom, Roman surprise tonight on Raw? Nope, he's on SmackDown. Joey says, hi Tom, worked wrestling reporter, the big return is planned for tonight. I'm guessing it's for Becky or maybe Drew. It is, there are rumours already surrounding the return of Becky Lynch. It's why it's my lead story today. Those rumours have been making the rounds for a couple of days now. Becky Lynch essentially is looking to return. Her break was never going to be particularly extended. It was just selling the damage done by Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus has already been announced as returning tonight, so a big surprise return that is now leaked is that of Becky Lynch. There are a number of different things that they're considering for Becky Lynch at the moment. One of them includes a match with Trish Stratus at Money in the Bank, which would of course be in the UK, where they believe they'll be able to take advantage of a more hometown crowd than they certainly would in the United States or in Saudi Arabia. That said, this may end up being quite a prolonged feud, as Trish Stratus is here until SummerSlam and they look like they're trying to take advantage of that. So yes, Becky Lynch, one sec. Becky Lynch, expected to return shortly. Leon says, hope you're doing well. You deserve your break. Have a nice holiday. Thank you, Leon. Tillman says, sup? How you doing, Tillman? Daniela says, oh, I've lost track of it. Good evening, Tom. Hope you're well. I am, thank you. Richard says, hope you have a great holiday, Tom. Enjoy every second of it. I will try, guys. I will try. It's going to be weird about the kids. It's going to be weird about the kids. I'm not used to that yet. I'm not used to caring about things so far away from me. Steve says, want to ask this before getting to the store. Who do you think want to be the two guys to be in the inaugural World Heavyweight Championship match? I want Seth and AJ. I won't be getting them. Lucha Libre says, Tom, how are you doing today? Doing good, thank you, Lucha Libre. The live only just went live. I've had a very busy day. Welcome, James, as well. King Azza says, hey, Tom, do you think WWE is planning a rematch between Roman and Cody at WrestleMania 40? If so, is that the right choice? I don't know if they're doing that, and I can't say if it's the right choice based on not knowing if they're going to do it. I still personally think SummerSlam is more likely. Venom says, wanting to ask if Roman is going to defend the title at Money in the Bank, and who do you think could possibly face him? Once again, you're asking if I think something will happen, and then based on that happening, which I don't know if will happen, what's going to happen? Asking based on assumptions there. Peter says, hi Tom, how are you today? Doing well, thank you, Peter. Welcome to the show. Khalid says, any chance we see Carlito? Yes, there is. Carlito is one that we may be seeing tonight on Raw. There is more to discuss on that shortly. Hey Jaden, how you doing? Venom says, do you think we can see the Way tonight? More on that shortly. Marcel says, hi Tom. Hello Marcel. Joe says, hi Tom, are you looking forward to Roman coming back this Friday night? Yes, I am. Ed says, we'll be without our leader until just before Night of Champions, Double or Nothing and Battlegrounds weekend, so everyone wish him well and hit like. I will of course not be watching Night of Champions, as that is a Saudi Arabia pay-per-view and I do not watch those, so please be aware of that one. Hector says, I've been watching wrestling over 20 years and honestly the pop Bad Bunny got in his home country at Backlash was one of the biggest ones I've ever witnessed, and that says a lot. Joey says, do you know if Drew is healed up yet, or is he holding due to contract talks? He's not holding due to contract talks. There are no contract talks at this point in time. Nothing formal has started. There are still 11 months on his contract. Daz says, Tom, do you think Edge will be in a triple threat match tonight? Nope, because Edge is not on Raw, he's on SmackDown, and he is in a triple threat match on SmackDown. King says, hey, I've already read that one. WWE Reviews says, hey, Tom. Hello, WWE Reviews. Welcome to the show. Rizal says, Backlash was great. What was your favourite match last night? Bianca versus Io was my favourite. Well, 2 nights ago, my favourite match was indeed Bianca versus Io. Just a really high-quality wrestling match. Richard says, it's sad that Bianca Belair's title reign is ending tonight with a title swap. Have they announced the title swap? Venom says, hope you have a good holiday, Tom. Gonna miss you. Thank you, mate. Looking forward to it. I definitely am. 23 Fresh says, are Epico, Primo and Carlito returning to the WWE? No, possibly if he wants to. Though the report that's come out recently saying he's open to it isn't quite accurate with what's actually happened, whereas he's previously made it very clear he'll come back for a certain amount of money that the WWE were not willing to pay. I would very much enjoy it, though, if he starts making more appearances and you start to see certain wrestling journalists rolling over backwards trying to say, oh, we never said there was a hiring freeze. We never said that there was a hiring freeze. Daniela says, do you think that Kevin and Sammy should relinquish or somehow lose the SmackDown tag titles as they're on Raw? SmackDown tag titles should be on SmackDown, in my opinion. Yes, I do believe they should split those titles. Dom welcome says, don't forget to hit that like button or we have 3 words for you. Oh, hell yeah. We have 67 viewers at the moment and only the 21 likes. If you're able to, please remember to hit that thumbs up. Jordan Plays is heading to Raw tonight. Hope you enjoy it, mate. John says, notice how WWE have not taken any shots at AEW, and then John insults AEW. WWE never really took shots because you don't punch down. Moxie says, Tom, who do you see being in the finals of the World Heavyweight title match in Saudi? I'm saying Edge versus Seth. I want Seth versus AJ. I don't think that's what's going to happen. Joey says, do you think the Cody and Brock feud is going to carry into Night of Champions? I think it's going to keep going, and I said that during my Backlash watch party as well. It was an inconclusive win by Cody Rhodes. As regards Brock Lesnar, and in fact Edge have both been asked to work extra dates to their contract, which is something that the WWE can do. They just have to pay a little bit extra to do it. That means it's more likely that we're going to see Brock Lesnar between now and SummerSlam, and it's already confirmed that Edge will be returning ahead of schedule. Hogan says, personally missed it, but Michael Cole apparently mentioned that the tag titles will indeed remain unified during Backlash. Is that indeed the plan going forwards, or does Cole misspeaking at the moment? That is the plan, because the tag team championships have not been separated, and neither have the world and universal championships, setting a clear precedent. Peter says, when will Roman Reigns lose his undisputed titles? When he's booked to do so. John says, Tom, I'm in the hard cam side, so I'll wave to you, bro. Appreciate that, mate. I'll look for someone waving in a wrestling arena. Rizal says, I find it interesting that Theory is in the world title tournament as US champion, but Gunter isn't as IC champion. The reason for this is quite simple. Austin Theory is going to lose. They didn't want Gunter to do that. Zane says, do you think Matt Cardona will return to WWE since he left Impact Wrestling? Well, apparently there's a hiring freeze. I don't think the interest is there compared to as much fan interest. Daniela says, the tribal chief, head of the table, undisputed Universal Champion Roman Reigns. I don't know why she says that, but she does. Mike Rogers says, what's up, Tom? Have they decided where Survivor Series will be held? Yes, they have. Sean says, hey, I find it funny that Fightful put out a report that Drew hasn't made his mind up. What a waste of $5. Ultimately, 11 months is a long time, and he hasn't signed a contract, which tells me he hasn't made his mind up. People pay for this. King says, Tom, do you think fans will turn on Cody once he finishes his story? Depends how long he's champion for. After all, that's what's happening with Bianca Belair. She's been champion for too long, and people are starting to turn on her. 23 Fresh says, why didn't Carlito become a world champion? Because at no point has he ever been a WWE main eventer. At no point did he even come close. Razar says, Io Sky made me such a fan of her work with that match. So interested where they go with her next. Next seems to be the issue with Bayley, which will be playing out on SmackDown, of course, rather than Raw. Alex says, I think we see Brock tonight costing Cody in the tournament. That's certainly one opinion that's going round. If Cody is in that tournament, he is basically guaranteed to be the winner. It is also very possible, of course, that Brock Lesnar interferes at Night of Champions instead, meaning that the first World Heavyweight Champion is on SmackDown. Yeah. Spiderball says, I expected more of Rhea Ripley versus Zelina Vega. Zelina hadn't much offense. Nope, there really wasn't, and the match was very, very short as well. Tillman says, I think Seth and Drew will be in the world title match with Drew winning the match. Tillman, Drew McIntyre is not announced as a competitor in the World Heavyweight Championship tournament. There has already been 12 people announced and he is not one of them. Wrestler Fan says, will Edge be competing at Night of Champions? It depends how well he does in his triple threat and his final match to get to that stage. Richard says, anyone surprised that Cody's in the favour for the new World Heavyweight title? No, the whole point is it's supposed to finish the story against Roman. So him going after the World Heavyweight Championship is sort of counterintuitive. Hello, Sean. Venom says, I hope Cody gets Roman's title because he's been putting this tournament and saying finish the story. If he wins, it's more like running away from the story. Well, you can only beat what's put in front of you, so I wouldn't say running away. CM says, what is SmackDown going to do with tag titles? Are they going to make new ones? No, doesn't seem so at this point in time. After all, if they made new tag titles, the first thing they'll do is announce that Raw superstars can wrestle for them. Spiderbot says WWE should do more pay-per-views in UK and Latin America. The crowds are awesome. They are planning to do so. I did see a report from Fightful Select today that they are considering an Australia pay-per-view. I wonder where you might have heard that already. Couldn't possibly be here in Tom Colohue spoiler warning, could it? Joey says, where do you think WWE's next international pay-per-view will be? Saudi Arabia, and then the UK. They're already lined up, mate. Already lined up. Thank you very much, Brad, for subscribing. Got plenty of Brads in here now if you'd like to join the Brad crowd. Thank you very much for joining on the YouTube side. Kervin says, I've seen pictures about the new Raw logo. Hope you enjoyed it, because you better get used to it. Daniela says, just a comment of acknowledgement from me, my daily acknowledgement of the Tribal Chief. Gotcha, Daniela. I respect that. Speaking of the Tribal Chief, the Bloodline storyline has been extended and will be continuing until later this year, beginning of next year. The plan was for the collapse of the Bloodline to have already started, but shortly before WrestleMania, Triple H decided that instead of splitting the championship, he would be announcing the World Heavyweight Championship. This is not the original intended finish to the story that was put together by Vince McMahon when he started the Bloodline and started Sami Zayn as a part of it. Vince McMahon planned to have Cody Rhodes win. At WrestleMania. Triple H has made the change to extend the Bloodline storyline, get at least one more match out of Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, as well as write his own ending in a way that Vince McMahon was not able to do. Mark says, we all know the real reason is that Gunter is too big for the world title. Venom says, sorry, just a quick recap. RKO and Sami not going to vacate the SmackDown tag belts. I thought they would as they were drafted to Raw. They were drafted to Raw. At the moment, it doesn't look like they're going to be vacating the tag belts. Joey says, do you think we'll see the NXT Colts make their debut tonight? Some yes, some no. Peter says the story never finishes in WWE, which is accurate. Thank you very much, Wiggly, for renewing your subscription for a 6th month in a row and a 22nd month total on the Twitch side. Welcome to the show, mate. Ken says, who has the best card for the UK pay-per-view shows, WWE or AEW? WWE, because they're the only ones to have even one card, even one match announced. And to be fair, the only match announced is there's going to be Money in the Bank matches. There is no card for either show, but we know one of them is going to have Money in the Bank matches. Sean says, apparently WrestleMania said Brock being busted open was done the hard way and there was no blading. I find this questionable. Firstly, the blood was intentional, we can confirm that. It was an extremely similar spot to WrestleMania 31 when he ran into the ring post and did the same. What I will say is that the nature of the cut strongly suggests a blade to me. Ryan says, a damn shame LA Knight isn't in the World Heavyweight Championship tournament. He is simply not considered to be at that level by the WWE. Kervin says Becky versus Rhea Ripley needs to happen at SummerSlam. Becky has other things in mind, at least for the moment. She'll be going after Trish Stratus. However, long term, Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley is indeed the plan for at least one of the big shows this year. Daniela says, what happened to the new World Heavyweight Championship being mutually exclusive to Raw, which Triple H said? Essentially, they're making up as they go along. I previously reported this on Friday with a lot more detail. Spiderboss says, since WWE storylines haven't much logic, it would surprise me if Cody ended up winning the new World Heavyweight title. To be fair, when it comes to wrestling, it's not supposed to be too logical because kayfabe is supposed to be actually competition. Lauren Welcome says, hey Tom, just here to spread good vibes, and good vibes are always spread by your presence, Lauren. Hassan says hi there. Hello, Hassan. Wiggly says yo 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 yo. Ryan says, yay, Australia, my live ticket from 2020 got cancelled after 3 reschedules. Could add speculation for an Aussie PLE? Yes, it does add speculation to that, but let's also consider that I've been saying for a while that the WWE have been talking to the Australian government to try and make that show happen. Now we're starting to hear it from other people behind paywalls. Joey says, I hope WWE could host a pay-per-view in Australia or Japan next. Not next, but soon. Wiggly says 2 months away from 2 years. Indeed, you've been here a very long time. Peter Roberts says Cody Rhodes will not finish the story of Roman Reigns because he will lose again, and Peter has decided that. There's no source, he's just said so, which is completely indisputable because he said so. Ross, welcome, says I'm just watching Backlash now, a little behind. Crowd is brilliant, they really are. Spider-Boss says I think only USA fans haven't booed Bianca Belair. Not true. WrestleMania fans booed Bianca Belair, it was just a little less audible. King says, Tom, do you like my idea of Cody in the finals? He's about to win, then Roman's music hits, and then Cody loses. Not so much. Venom says, is there a plan to eventually split Roman's titles, or are they going to stay unified? No, not while he is holding them. Mike says, why are we making such a big deal about SmackDown Superstar in the tournament? If they win, they can just get switched to Raw. Wow, what a concept. No need to dive in that heavy, mate. No need to dive in that heavy. Okay. Deep breath. That is true. They could potentially be switched to Raw. That said, it was announced as Raw exclusive. Triple H has gone back on his word. That is a fact. And as such, people are entitled to have questions. Counterfeit says, could NXT show up on Night of Champions? If booked so, yes. Ken says, my son is a fan of Baron Corbin. He's not happy Baron Corbin keeps losing. Watch this space. Sean says, did you see the new banners for Raw, SmackDown, NXT? Yes, I did. 23 says, who's the most outspoken wrestler in the business? Probably, unfortunately, Ryback. It's CM Punk. Joe says, I'd love Cody to win the championship tournament. Sean says, who do you think is a big-time return that's being reported? Becky, Alexa, or both? Literally my first piece of news, Sean. Alexa Bliss. Not the one. Becky Lynch is the one they're referring to. Wiggly says, I assume if the World Heavyweight Champion is from SmackDown, they just move to Raw. Yep. Spider-Boss says, Roman waited some time to beat Brock, but Cody beat Brock at his first match against Brock. Very WWE. Yeah, Roman can't win clean. That's not, oh, what terrible booking. They've already established Roman can't win clean. That Roman never beat Brock clean. There's your story. Also didn't beat Cody clean. Counterfeit says it seems Rhea is going to have more tougher challenges than Bianca. There are no tougher challenges than Bianca. After all, it's been firmly established that Bianca is Superwoman. Noob says, hello, Tom. Hello, Noob. Venom says, if the Bloodline story is continuing to next year, I assume Roman isn't dropping the belt at SummerSlam. Seems to be the case, though of course the belt is not necessarily the Bloodline storyline. Hogan says, is the plan for Becky and Trish to be a one-off at SummerSlam, or are there matches planned prior? I did mention this a little earlier. It seems like they are considering, at least at the moment, Becky versus Trish at Money in the Bank, thus giving Becky more of a hometown feel than it would over in the US. Dad says, do you think Cena could come back sometime? Yeah. Peter is dropping tables and said, great pay-per-view on Saturday. Very much appreciate you dropping in on that show, mate. Wiggly says Cody had no other major victories, apart from a Royal Rumble and all of the wins over Seth Rollins, including one in a cell while injured. Yeah. Mark says, this is random, but if they did a PLE in Japan, could they team up with New Japan? It might help everyone. Just a thought. Could, wouldn't. It does not benefit the WWE in any way whatsoever to work with a smaller wrestling promotion. Joe. Stop saying the same thing. Stop saying the same thing. I must have read over that about 15 times by now. Stop saying the same thing. It's literally the definition of spamming. I will kick you out. Wiggly says, will they give Roman a special belt to mark 1,000 days? Never done that before. Alyssa says, how do you keep Cody Rhodes over interesting until WrestleMania 40? It's too long. It is too long. They will try. I don't think they will succeed. Bailey says, any news on the media rights negotiations with Fox and NBC/Universal? Not at this point in time. No, they are still talking through the preliminaries. Moxie says, I would have Seth win the World Heavyweight title, then we get Cody and Pyro and confetti. Out of nowhere, a Claymore from returning heel Drew McIntyre, and Money in the Bank UK, we get Drew versus Seth for the World Heavyweight Championship. Oh, so Drew's the heel in the UK. Joey says, do you think JD McDonough could be the next person to join JD? A lot of people are really suggesting this. It's all fans at the moment. Austin says, is it true that Cody Brock feud continue? Well, they've not announced that, so we can't say whether it's true or not. Kervin says, can we see Rhea Ripley holding the Raw champion tonight? Possibly. I do think she could definitely lift Bianca. King says, I'm starting to think that Cody might win the Royal Rumble. If so, would that be too much of a push? Yes. Also probably not. Hogan says, in kayfabe, I understand them adding SmackDown folks to determine the first champ. Imagine being AJ Styles and being told you can't be the first World Heavyweight Champion because you were arbitrarily assigned to SmackDown, which is actually a good show. Adam says, hey Tom, hope you're doing well. Cheers, mate. Hector says, instead of adding a new title, I don't understand why they didn't just have Roman defend the WWE title separately, since his streak is with the Universal title. It seems like they booked themselves into a corner. Yeah, they made a choice, and then that choice was changed. They're making it up as they go along. FDR, how you doing? Says, hi Tom, you didn't start your vacation yet, am I misinformed? This is the final show. The final show before my vacation begins. I will be returning on May 26th. There will be shorts. There will not be lives during that period of time. It is my first actual break since January 15th, 2021. I've worked sick. I've worked tired. I've worked as much as I possibly could to try and provide quality entertainment, and it's been great fun. At times it's been difficult, but it's always been fun. Thank you all for that. I will be taking a break. Richard says, Io gave Bianca the best match of her career. Disagree, Becky for me. Really hope Triple H has plans to give Io a massive push going forward. Massive is questionable. Ken says, WWE reportedly draws up missing posters for Becky Lynch. Ken, I need you to drop a source on that one. I know what the source is, but I want you to say it. Joey says, when do you think Damage Control will break up? I remember you mentioned before it was pushed back. Yes, it was. It was supposed to be right after WrestleMania. It's been pushed back a little further. Could be coming sometime soon. Spider-Boss says, I compared Bianca with babyface Big Dog Roman Reigns mainly because of how WWE booked them strongly beating everyone. Yes. Venom says, just imagine when Roman loses and they separate the titles, having three of them seems a bit much. They're not separating the titles. They're retiring the Universal title. That seems more likely at this point in time to me. Tillman says, do you think Bianca Belair will turn heel? Forever is a very, very long time. Counterfeit says, now Tom, I don't know if this is true, but it's like Charlotte and Becky are going to be the champions again. Yeah, they're not. Where'd you get that from? They probably will at some point. That doesn't mean that, oh no, doom, the end is here. Let's instead consider the possibility that for the last year I've been reporting that the WWE are planning to start phasing out the four horsewomen for the championship picture. Now here we are. Lucha Libre says, why do people complain about heels winning dirty? That's why they're heels. Can't complain about the thing that gets you invested. 23 Fresh says, which wrestling storyline went too far? Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa went far, far too long. Speaking of that, there are rumours that we may see the return of The Way tonight on WWE Raw. Raw tonight, essentially the plan is to give you, the viewer, the Raw after WrestleMania that you didn't get because of interference from Vince McMahon. So there will be debuts, there will be returns, there will be big moments. Indy Hartwell has been carried to Raw and she's likely to appear tonight. The family reunion that has been mentioned may well be in-ring with everyone involved. Austin Theory, however, will not be present as he is currently on SmackDown. There are a number of different ways Triple H is planning to give you that Raw after Mania feel. It'll be Raw after Backlash, and he's planning to make it a big one. Mr. Stumble says, Tom, who's getting more heat, ex-con Dom currently, or when Seth Rollins turned on the Shield? Dominic, in every possible way. Moxie says, I wouldn't say Roman can't win clean because he's beaten Rey, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, Braun Strowman, Cena, Montez, Goldberg, Riddle, but when it comes to the real threats, yeah, he can't beat them clean. Fair, thank you for clarifying. Spider-Boss says, I laughed when I read Fightful saying Drew hasn't renewed his deal with WWE. All of us who watch Spoiler Warning know what happens with Drew McIntyre. Noob says, with Damage Control costing Io Sky on purpose. They didn't. I don't know where you've got that from. That is in no way what happened. Mark says, I think Brock will cost Cody tonight and then set a match up for Night of Champions as it's in Saudi, and they love Brock there. They love Brock because he's a big name. Everyone loves a big name. Ross says, the last show I remember in Japan on the network was at Sumo Hall a few years back. I think a Japanese show will be NXT Asia when that happens, just my opinion. NXT Asia is still being considered, but it was created and then shut down already due to the pandemic. Daz says, Tom, who do you think was the best, Sting or Vader? Sting. Mr. Stumble says, do you think the Mysterio storyline has surpassed the Bloodline storyline in heat? No, primarily because it's still very short compared to the Bloodline. Also, it doesn't include Sami Zayn. Cheers, FDR. Appreciate that, mate. Alex says the USA Network just put a tweet out saying there are a lot of opponents for Rhea Ripley and it shows a whole Raw Women's Division and Alexa Bliss. Does that confirm anything? No. The USA Network create their own graphics. Cheers, Khalid. Appreciate that. Mark is reminding us, I appreciate that, Mark. It's a good time to make the shout out. We currently have 86 people watching this here live show, and we have 35 likes. If you're able to, please remember to hit that thumbs up as you enter. It really does help the growth of the channel. We are growing, as we have been for a while now, at a tremendous rate. We are not quite on target for the 5,000 by year end, but we're also not very far behind, and right now we have 2,434 subscribers. If it's your first show, please remember you could be the one, pardon me, you could be the one to carry us over to 2,435. Adam says, I said much appreciating, thankful, spot on news and info. You're the best, better than Wrestle Votes, Dave Meltzer, Ringside Fightful, and even better than PWInsider. Thank you, Adam, I appreciate that. King says, Tom, do you think Roman versus Jay at SummerSlam is an option? Yes, everything is on the table. Hogan says, Gunter is reportedly dropping the IC title tonight. Source, I made it up, which is about as reliable as Zero News. Zero News, by the way, for those who didn't see it, was caught out once again, essentially saying that there was going to be a stretcher involved for Cody versus Brock. There wasn't. Also, there were plenty of people saying, oh, it's going to be a squash. It wasn't. Moxie says, I hope Bianca loses the Raw Women's Championship soon, but I think she's going to pass Brock's title reign on 504. Different championships, not relative. Blue says there will be 3 belts until Roman loses them because his long reign is with the Universal title. That is correct. Spider-Boss says the longest feud I've ever seen in WWE's Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar 2015 to 2022. You say that, but I think it's worth mentioning Kurt Angle versus Triple H, which lasted more than 20 years. About 20 years. More than 20 years. Teflon Don says, good afternoon, Tom. Everyone make sure you all hit that like button. It's free. Appreciate that, Teflon. Peter said, Dave Meltzer said the only reason Cody Rhodes lost at WrestleMania 39 is because he is not the guy. Dave Meltzer says a lot of stuff. Counterfeit says, which WWE wrestlers will push Bianca to her limits? Whoever is booked to do so. Joey says, don't let Vince hear of these plans. He'll make a bunch of last minute changes again. Ken says, reports from What Culture? Thank you, mate. Finn Balor getting kicked out of Judgment Day and being replaced by an NXT call-up. I mean, Finn's been losing a lot recently. Daniela says, SmackDown is going A-Town down. 23 Fresh says, will a new wrestler debut tonight from NXT? Yes, but not a new wrestler. No one will wrestle for the first time ever tonight. Mike says, where does Omos go from here? They will wait for a new opponent to become apparent. Omos, they do believe, is picking up good momentum. However, ultimately, he is losing a lot of matches. The hope is that he's starting to convince people to back the guy. That he's starting to make people think, oh, he's actually a pretty good wrestler. And honestly, I think he is. Alyssa wants Cody to win Money in the Bank, which is not a surprise for Alyssa. Spider-Boss says, for me, the best matches of Bianca Belair are Bianca versus Sasha and Bianca versus Becky. Moxie says, Seth losing the title to Gunter at WrestleMania would be incredible. Yeah, probably. King says, hey, Tom, do you think it's possible for Roman Reigns to win the World Heavyweight Championship? Yes. Venom says, when do you think Charlotte could come back? Soon. Very soon, in fact. Joey says, are we ever going to see Eric Young make his in-ring return, or is it off since they couldn't get the Sanity reunion? They're still trying. They're still trying to make it happen. Eric Young is working backstage because he's not working as a wrestler for a reason. He's carrying a lot of injuries. Right, WWE 26. You are immediately being blocked, blacklisted, whichever one it is, from this channel completely. Zane says, I saw a report from Wrestling Inc. missing posters for Becky Lynch. Ed says, you could be the one in 21 and what? I mean, hell, I forgot the number, just subscribe. Appreciate that, Ed. Alyssa says, why is Cody Rhodes' tournament belt too big? He deserves better. Alyssa, you personally, and I know this, you personally believe that Cody Rhodes should win every single match ever. You have to have a story eventually. Appreciate that, Daz. Jessica says, what's so special about The Way? They were very popular in NXT, and honestly, I feel they had a very good storyline, but not in a way that will translate too well, so they do need to write something interesting for it. Vegeta says, Tom, hi. Welcome, mate. Noob says, never trust Zero News. Adam is asking, any update on Bray? Nothing new on that one. Ryan says, personally, I find Dave Meltzer unbearable. Aside from simply being around a long time, why is he so respected in the wrestling space? I find him more wrong than anything. I think you hit the nail on the head in that first bit that you said. I find it very telling that certain people in wrestling media who are furious whenever people get things wrong have a blind spot for certain big names. King says, do you think WWE is going to turn Roman face at some point? No, I think Roman will. Joey says, Zero News also kept saying Gunther was going to drop the IC title and face Brock at Mania. Yeah, you'll notice that is one of those reports that I, at all times, was saying, nope, it's going to be against Drew. No, it's going to be against Drew. It's going to be against Drew. Eventually, Sheamus was added. But it was not Brock versus Gunther, as a whole lot of people seem to think it was. Weekend's going well, thank you, Hassan. It is Monday, of course. Moxie says, I never got why Brock attacked Cody before the match with Solo and Roman. Shouldn't he want revenge on Roman for SummerSlam? I didn't understand it. All right. Spider-Boss says, recently in an interview with Denise Salcedo, Shawn Michaels told her he wants wrestlers from NXT finding their own identity. Funny fact, Cora Jade still hasn't found her own identity. She's still imitating AJ Lee. That's an opinion. Vegeta says, Homo sapiens rise. There are certainly more of them than there were. Daz thinks Steph will win Money in the Bank. Daniela says, Cameron Grimes is having his main roster in-ring debut this Friday versus... and then abuses Baron Corbin for no reason, mate. Come on. Razar says, I don't see Bianca losing the title till she faces Charlotte. I don't see Charlotte winning it. 23 Fresh says, will Name Redacted be inducted into the Hall of Fame? No. Adam says, will Roman win the World Heavyweight Championship at Night of Champions? No. FDR says, was Brock being busted open at Backlash planned? Yes. Hogan, thank you for doing some of the legwork for me here. Says, I tried looking up the Finn What Culture report but couldn't find anything thus far. Sure you're working on that one, guys, because Hogan's got a question for you. Moxie says, maybe Tom wins the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm not facing Gunther, Moxie. Calm the hell down, I don't want it. Justin says, Bliss coming back soon. Heard on multiple sites she's wanted for Saudi. Alexa Bliss will be coming back as soon as Bray Wyatt has written a storyline that works for her. When they brought in the new writer, it was also with the intention of separating Alexa Bliss if they could not come up with something that works with. Spider-Boss says, I found that SRS and Meltzer are like divas, never admit when they got something wrong. Counterfeit says, could Naomi and Sasha return to the WWE in the future? The future is an incredibly long place, so yes. Razar says, I like the way, but I don't see it working without Austin Theory or if any of the original members aren't in it. Spider-Boss says, what would it take for Bianca to lose the championship? It would take Triple H to book her to lose the championship. Kelvin says, Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter? I played more Street Fighter, but I enjoy the characters of Mortal Kombat more. That said, the Street Fighter film is better than the Mortal Kombat film. Venom says, who do you think could vault as next opponent, and do you think he'll break the record for longest reigning with IC title? There are a number of potential opponents now. Omos, I think, will probably be one of them, let's be fair. As regards longest reign for IC title, I don't necessarily think so, because he needs to be main event sooner rather than later. Sai says, evening all, hope everyone's good. Welcome, Sai, how you doing, mate? Thank you very much for the Money in the Bank overlay. I've checked it out and I very much enjoy the landscape you put at the top. I hope everyone's excited for that. Daniela says, I'm still trying to figure out what will happen with the free agents from the draft. Cedric, Shelton, Zion Quinn, Ali, Von, Omos. Real simple. They're going to be available to both Raw and SmackDown. There'll be a pool of people that they can pull from for both Raw and SmackDown to fill any gaps. And essentially, should they convincingly prove that they belong there, they will be kept. Thank you very much, Callum, for following on the Twitch side. I very much appreciate it. We are continuing to grow at a great pace, and it is thanks to the generosity of so many of you following, subscribing, and checking out the work. So thank you kindly. Venom says, Roman defending the belt at the Saudi show. Nothing has been announced. Omega says, Tom Colohue. Welcome, mate. How you doing? Daniela says, the broke Corbin character made me laugh. It was brilliant. I wholeheartedly agree. Ray says, Deonna Purrazzo said in an interview she'll not be leaving Impact Wrestling anytime soon. I don't believe there were ever any reports that she would. King says, hey Tom, I heard Brock was originally gonna... Okay. King, what's your source? The phrase I heard always makes me immediately suspicious. Counterfeit says, Tom, you should do a vlogging channel. Why? Like, genuine question, Counterfeit. Why? What content do you think I would have for a vlog? I would literally just be sat right here. That's my life. Other than that, I spend time with my family, who I'm not putting on camera, and that's kind of it. I can't do anything with my actual job because it's a very private job. So, you want to watch me sleep? I don't really get it. I will look to do a video diary for my time going to All In, but I've tried to do that before and it just wasn't very good. So we'll see how it goes. Peter Roberts says, what is happening with Drew McIntyre's status in WWE? Drew McIntyre is guaranteed to at least be a WWE employee for the next 11 months, which is the length of his remaining contract, unless he is released by the WWE. So unless he gets fired, basically. That's his status. That is his whole status. That is the only information that is accurate about his status. Hogan says, to your knowledge, was Grimes cutting his beard and chest hair a Grimes call or a WWE call? Personally, I think he stands out much more with a big beard and hairy chest. It was a Grimes call. Callum has Seth Rollins winning the tournament, definitely the favourite for it at the moment. Adam says, I hoped we were going to get Karrion versus Roman for the undisputed title when he returned. Yeah, no. Karrion Kross was never taken too seriously, it seems. Lucha Libre says, I like the idea of Gunter beating Honky Tonk's record, but that's just my opinion. Joey says, do you think Vince is going to push almost more now after the positive reaction he got? No, because Vince is not in charge of creative. Hogan says, I do like that all of MVP's current clients are free agents who may or may not be called upon should Lashley need some backup against a certain champion. What I would like and what I would love is for MVP to pick up these free agents, turn them into a faction and make them really angry. LF says, hi Tom, can you see Roman turning face while he has the titles, or is it more likely after he eventually loses them? For me, it's more likely after he loses them. Spider-Boss says, I think Dominic is good as a heel, but only fans put Dominic on the level of top heels like MJF and Roman Reigns. He is a top heel. He's not a main event, but he's a top heel. Ken says, did you collect wrestling figures as a kid? I didn't collect them, but people knew I was a wrestling fan, so I sort of inherited them. Razar says, I noticed the IC title never got defended on PLE outside of WrestleMania and Clash at the Castle. Will it change now that it got moved to Raw? Yes. Hogan says, obviously the people on vlogs of you cooking whatever people from the UK eat. So, like, proper British food like pizza, pasta, curries, Chinese food, you know, proper British stuff. King says, I want Cody versus AJ in the finals and do an AJ heel turn. Wasn't he a heel already? It's hard to tell at times. Joey says, have you heard anything on who Roman's opponent could be for Night of Champions? I've not heard that he's going to defend at Night of Champions. Counterfeit says, I feel like Raw is going to be intense. That's the hope. And Adam says, I really want to see Bronson Reed win a title. Too early for me, but if he keeps going as he is, there certainly will be championships in his future. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez will be making appearances on both Raw and SmackDown, essentially guaranteeing that we're going to be seeing quite a lot of women's tag team championship matches. That said, with the draft in mind and all the draft changes, the women's tag team championships were not considered. The main reason, for example, Ronda Rousey, future women's tag team champion, was moved to Raw was to wrestle against Rhea Ripley. Ronda Rousey versus Rhea Ripley is something that Triple H wants to make happen as a way of essentially helping Ronda Rousey and Rhea Ripley become the top level stars that they're expecting. At least of Rhea Ripley. Ronda's already there, as we know. As regards Raquel Rodriguez, it's a big opportunity for her, but the WWE, particularly Triple H, is really focused on making a big deal out of Liv Morgan. Raquel Rodriguez is largely, at the moment, just there for the ride. Moxie says maybe we get the Bloodline versus a returning Hurt Business at War Games. Book it, Vince, book it. Spider-Boss says, do you see WWE turning Bayley face? Yes, I've mentioned that before WrestleMania. Pete says, is Vince McMahon making Roman Reigns booking decisions? No. Zane says, will there be any wrestlers going to NXT when the main roster doesn't have anything for them? Yes. Daniela says, who do you think could be the next challengers to Kevin and Sami for their titles? I know they can't defend their titles in Saudi. There's plenty of possibilities for who it could be. Basically anyone at this point. Street Profits, I think, are up there. I just don't think they'll be on the card for Night of Champions. They'll defend on the SmackDown before. Faces, gotcha. Venom says, when do you think Ciampa will return? Once he is fit. Lauren says, if it's not being boiled in a creature's intestines and it's not Isles cuisine, also live vlogging are just exhausting. It's bad enough having to edit looking at my own face, which, you know, I hate more than anything. So, you know. Callum says, what did you think of Cody beating Brock Lesnar? I expected it. I expected it to be a little more conclusive, but you get what you get. Gomar says, anything on Carlito possibly returning for another run? As I said on the Backlash watch party, Carlito has had a number of offers from the WWE that he has turned down. I suspect he wants a bit more money. Venom says, do you think we could get Orton versus Roman at SummerSlam? No, I don't know when Orton's returning, but he certainly isn't involved in a Roman storyline. Alan says, personally, I think it's stupid they drafted the women's tag champions to a specific brand when they could have just been free agents and appeared on both shows. It's a good shout. They could have been like year-long free agents and just taken advantage of a loophole. They have been drafted, but the championships will be on both, it seems. Vegeta says, Rhea versus Ronda at SummerSlam would be fire. Austin says Finn versus Cody versus Miz and Seth versus Damian versus Shinsuke was reported by PWInsider. That should be 2 good triple threat matches. A brief thing I want to mention on Damian Priest. The plan going into Backlash was to use Bad Bunny to make Damian Priest look like a star. Now, admittedly, Damian Priest did not pick up the win, but there was plenty of good reasons for that. He clearly had Bad Bunny beaten within the first 5 minutes, but got overzealous and got in his own head. Damian Priest was supposed to start looking like a star, and I do feel he succeeded in that. The year of Judgment Day continues, and Damian Priest potentially competing for this championship is one of the ways that they are getting to that level. Now, he's in the triple threat with Seth, and Seth seems guaranteed to be picking up the win there. I think Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins is the most likely scenario for the final, as it were, between the Raw side. Seth going on to Night of Champions makes the most sense. But Damian Priest, for me, is definitely one to watch. 2023 is not just going to be a good year for Judgment Day, it's going to be a very good year for Damian Priest. Good to see you too, C-Mac. How you doing, mate? Spider-Ball says, I think have the Judgment Day beating Sami and Kevin Owens for the tag titles would be cool. More heel for Dominic. Callum says, who do you think will beat Roman Reigns? Jay or Cody or possibly Sami? King says, do you see Roman beating Hogan's title reign? No. Peter says, why was Roman Reigns not booked for Backlash in Puerto Rico? Because he was taking time off. Counterfeit says, do you think Ronda Rousey versus Rhea would be match of the year, surpassing Charlotte versus Rhea? I'd need to watch the match and then tell you. Noob says, will Asuka ever turn heel? Forever is a very long time. Probably. Richard says, what's the big deal with Liv? If she failed to get over with her wins over Ronda Rousey, it will be a challenge. I don't necessarily think she failed to get over. I think she was over before that and she's still over now. The feud itself, though, was not very good. And to be fair, Ronda Rousey would like to run it back. Vegeta says, Ronda isn't as good as Charlotte, so nah. I mean, fair enough. Ken says, will Solo Sikoa turn on the Usos anytime soon? Anytime soon? Very open-ended. Counterfeit says, in my opinion, Charlotte and Ronda wrestle the same. I mean, that's not even close to true. Not even close to true. Vegeta quite rightly pointing out Asuka is indeed a heel at the moment. Joey says, is it true WWE is trying to get Bad Bunny to work SummerSlam? Who would he face? Okay, asking based on an assumption there, so I can't answer the second one. Yes, the WWE are trying to get Bad Bunny to work SummerSlam. They're also trying to get Bad Bunny to work Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Basically, Bad Bunny, come here, stay here, be on TV every week. Venom says, do you think we get Rhea versus Ronda anytime soon? I've already answered that one 3 times in this show alone. You've been here for them. Callum says, what do you think of Matt Riddle? Well, personally or professionally? Professionally, decent wrestler. Hogan says, saying someone isn't as good as Charlotte is like saying someone isn't as good as Messi. That's a damn high bar to cross, which is very fair, Hogan. Thank you for mentioning it. Hogan's, I've already read that one. And I do believe that's about it. Joey says, do you know if they plan on revisiting the Asuka and Bianca feud when she returns? I do not. King says, do you think the Bloodline storyline has gone stale since Sami got kicked out? Yes. And Leon says, did you see the new Raw logo? Not yet. So, a reminder. This is our last live show until I return from vacation, holiday in the UK, on the 26th. That is Friday, the 26th of May. We will still be doing shorts and plenty of shorts, but we will not be going live and we will have no long form content. Hopefully everyone understands that this is my first actual break since the 15th of January 2021. I've been working pretty much non-stop for 2.5 years. So I very much appreciate if you'll give me the benefit of the doubt and still be here when I get back on Friday the 26th. With this in mind, if anyone is going to miss me, please do consider joining the Discord. I will not be there, but you will get updates from our team essentially, the mod team, and of course so many other talented individuals who are going to be there. And I'll be able to pop into the Discord every now and then, whereas I will not be able to do so, not be able to do so for YouTube. So if you do miss me, by all means just start commenting on the shorts and I'll be sure to answer some questions there. By all means jump in or join the Discord where you'll still get the same content. But in the meantime, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you for keeping me company, for making sure we have fun, and for being here with me. I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.